What was that? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens?
Hello, weirdos. It's the Weird Whatever podcast, and we are back. And of course, we've got technical difficulties to start. So I apologize if you've heard this intro, if you heard this segment before. We're going to have to do it again, and we'll have to do it with the same enthusiasm we did it for the Facebook audience. Vicky, great to see you. We had a national TV appearance that I thought went really good. What was your opinion on it?
Yeah, I was having a good hair day. You can hear that joke twice now. And I was very impressed at the way that they cut our interview and put it together and showed the evidence. And, you know, other than the fact your place that you live is completely unrecognizable from another country, I thought it was great.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to show you from the TV show what they did. They outlined the spirit or the entity that is in my room, in my closet. Then we're going to get into what I think is going on right now. Vicky's going to give her opinion, but you'll see how they outline the actual spirit. And Vicky, you had said that it does not look like a human spirit.
Right. I said from the beginning, I didn't think it was human. And I think that the video evidence just backs that up. And the experts on the show backed me up as well.
Yes, we appreciate the patience of the audience that's already heard this segment from us. Birdie's going to be pulling up the segment. We also have some EVPs that's going on. Now, Vicky, you're talking about how you guys can see you can see the ghost spirit right there. You can see the outline right over here. And that does look like some type of alien, Vicky.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like your typical human spirit for sure.
And just for there I am looking all fat and bloated. I used that joke earlier in the last broadcast, but I look like I'm going through something on that. My eyes are puffy.
Yeah, you look sleep deprived.
So Vicky, if you don't mind, just let people know what's going on in this clip, what you think's going on, just if someone's never heard this before.
If someone's never seen the entire clip, at the very beginning, you are basically, you see something on your blanket. You actually pull your blanket up. As you're pulling the blanket up, something is holding on. You see its hands, you see its body, and it's going with the blanket as you pull it. A few minutes later, you see this thing basically pop up from your midsection and then sit back down, and all that was captured. There is something in between that's not on the original clip, because when you guys cut it, you cut out the middle part, but whatever it is that holds onto your blanket actually lays down next to you before the next thing pops up. That's also in that whole clip.
I don't remember cutting that. Oh, you mean the original clip?
The original,
yeah,
the
gotcha.
original long clip had it sitting next to you in the bed, and then the thing pops up from your midsection.
So right before we got cut off, we were getting into the new EVPs, and this is I was talking about how I feel like there's a new spirit going on here in the townhouse, more of a protective female energy. A lot of people, when I brought this up before, saying, is it your mom? Is it Aunt Anne? You were just telling the audience about how it could be a protective energy, but it could also be a trap.
Yes, it could be. If we're dealing with a succubus, they will appear at times in these wonderful, attractive human forms, and then you will eventually see what they really look like and what their real intentions are.
But I will say, just the feeling I get, it's a different kind of feeling. I do feel like it's a positive spirit, and it does come out. It seems to come out when I'm working on music or trying to do something that I'm really enjoying. The two EVPs that I caught was when I was trying to work on some music, and we do have those EVPs that I'd like to play you guys. And I played both of them on the KVJ show. For those who haven't heard it, I want to see if you guys can see what these sound like. Sorry for the delay. There's a little delay here.
And I'm posting a link for everybody to move over from Facebook to the YouTube.
Yeah, I mean.
Play it again.
We can't hear it, Birdney.
Play it again.
We can't hear it. Yeah, we can't hear it at all.
It's
Let
very
me try.
faint.
Let me do it again.
There we go. So go ahead and play that one more time. See if Beckett can hear. Did you hear that, Beckett?
I definitely heard a whisper, but I couldn't make out what it was.
And you think that's protective? Do you know what that says, right?
Yeah, you're mine. I'm just going on what I feel, Vicky. I mean, look, we all have abilities. We've both said we all have our own abilities, and I'm just going on what I feel. The one in the closet doesn't feel good. This one feels a little bit different. There's a second EVP we're gonna play.
Vicky,
Go
Vicky,
ahead.
I have a quick question, Vicky, about this. So this is kind of meant as a joke, but it's also a serious question. If Jason wants a female presence in his house, whether that's something that's motherly or something of a significant other, can they project that in terms of what they're sensing as to what the spirit is?
Yes, if we're dealing with the kind of entity that I think we are, it's going to do whatever it can to fool him because it doesn't want to be let go. It doesn't want to lose its control. And it sees what's going on. It sees that he is looking for a place to go. And it sees all this stuff. It's going to try to fool him.
Now, when I say more of a protective feeling, I feel like it's a protective feeling of not danger, but possibly, to your point, Vicky, of protective to the point not wanting me to leave. And just I wanted to play the second clip, and then I wanted to get your theory about it, because I feel like both of our theories are going to meet in the middle here as a hybrid theory. And I just want to see what you think.
I heard it.
Could you hear what that said, Beckett?
Yeah.
What did it say?
So I couldn't make out what they're saying. I think maybe I had bad hearing. I could definitely hear whispering, but I can't make out like a sound.
Was it sweet nothings?
Birdney, could you hear what it said?
Yeah, I could hear what it said.
What did it say?
It said stay.
Okay, so I see what
What's
you
right
are thinking, Vicky. It doesn't want me to leave. It's going to play tricks on me. I understand that. I think what we got going on is we got an evil spirit that was on our show that we saw. And I think that this is another entity that's being stuck here by that spirit that wants me to stay because I'm the only thing comforting it. I'm not saying that it's a great spirit, but I am the reason why it wants me to stay because it doesn't like that other spirit.
Okay, if you want, I texted you when I first heard the guitar playing EVPs on the KBJ show. The first one says stay, but if you listen, as you continue to listen and you have the headphones on that I use for paranormal investigations, I knew it kept bothering me because I knew it said more than one word, but I couldn't figure out what that second word is after the second stay. It actually says stay awake, which proves that whatever that is giving you a subliminal message for you to be sleep deprived.
I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear with the headphones. Are you able to amplify that and get that EVP out so we can hear the awake part? Or, I mean, can you get us the clip?
The clip is on KBJ. All I did was listen to it with my headphones.
I meant to say the clip, the thing that you use, whatever ghost machinery.
They're headphones.
Okay,
They're just good quality headphones. They're Sony headphones and not earbuds. They're regular headphones. They're the ones that have a noise cancellation thing on them. I literally listened from my phone plugged in my Sony's, listened to it. I had another person confirm it. It wasn't just me. I had actually Bobby Joe, shout out. We know that she's my partner in this. She listened to it too, and she heard it as well.
Fascinating stuff.
I don't tell anybody when I get something. I don't tell them what I think it is.
I
And
can't. I'm sorry. You broke up, Vicky. Can you say that again?
I said, when I get an EVP, I don't tell the person I have listening to it what I think it is. I give it to them. I said, what do you think? What do you hear? And the first thing she said again, that's 2 words, not 1. And then she's like, it's because it's really close between stay away and stay awake. But there's a very slight k sound at the end of it if you listen with the proper headphones.
Very
So if you
interesting.
combine that with your mind, I mean, I don't know what kind of dates you've been on that the woman has whispered your mind in that tone, but I completely
I'm
disagree.
just, Vicky, I'm just going on gut intuition, and many people have told me to trust that. I feel like there's something else going on here. I think there's a new entity here, or an entity that's been around, and it wants to get out of here. And I think there's 2 different things going on here. I'm just being honest with you. That's why I want you to come back. I want you to confirm
absolutely.
I want you to either confirm or get out what I am personally feeling, so I can, I'm absolutely going to listen to you, but I want to be 110% honest what I am feeling with this.
Maybe it's a threesome.
Oh God.
I don't know.
Of course,
Hey,
Beckett.
either way, this is pretty fascinating stuff.
It is really.
Can I ask why a guitar was playing?
Can you turn down your volume? Thank you,
Yeah.
Brittany. So I work on music, and I'm recording stuff for the show. When I go back and listen to it with my own headphones, I heard that. Yeah. And the same thing with the second one. I had the one that's just blank without any music. I was working on music, and I had left my recorder on just to have in the background. And I went back and listened to that. Now, I've also done something where I slept in my closet and I recorded stuff in there, but I got nothing on that. I went through all that. So
interesting. That was actually some pretty cool, some pretty good guitar, man. I'm impressed. It was like MTV Unplugged.
Thanks, Becca. It's I'm gonna get sued by Lisa Loeb because her song is "Stay."
I was gonna say that. That's awesome.
But if it's "Stay Awake," then we're cool. I changed the name to "Stay Awake." She can't sue me.
That's great. That's great.
Vicky, we want as much evidence as possible before we leave this place. That's my goal.
Well, don't worry. The way you're going, you're going to take whatever it is with you. So you don't have to worry about it.
No, that's what the next place. That's when we poltergeist this shit. we blow it all up that way.
And just so you know, rule number 1 in paranormal investigation, and I never have violated this rule. I've been doing this since 2007. You do not, under any circumstances, investigate your own home. Now, the first EVP, completely accidental. The scenario that you have painted for the second EVP, okay, fine, accidental. Doing stuff and purposely starting recorders in your closet, no, that's investigating your own house. And I can tell you, I just had activity here at my house, primarily upstairs in my daughter's room. And even though I have the equipment, the capability, and certainly the wherewithal to be able to investigate, I did not. I called in another investigator to investigate my home because I do not cross that line.
They call me the renegade. They always have, Vicky. I don't know what to tell you. I hear your concern, and I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and do what's on our minds. I'm going to rip something from the KVJ show. I want to go around with everybody and tell me, we all have a topic we're bringing in. Birdney, let's start with you. What do you got for everybody? Let's learn from the Birdney.
Let's learn. Well, I have 2 little things that I was thinking about. The first thing that was on my mind, which has been on a lot of people's minds lately, is the Social Dilemma documentary that just came out. I know you said you've been talking about it a lot and stuff, but I've been more like asking myself, like, what is it that I can't live without? Or when I don't have internet or anything like that, what is it that I am inclined to do? And I almost am like lost sometimes, especially like with this pandemic, like when you can't really go see people. I feel like I would just like, I go to bed earlier. I'm like a normal human being. Like if I'm not attached to something. So I was really thinking about that. Not sure if you guys can relate to that.
Yeah, we can. Absolutely.
You can, yeah. And then I'm back in the classroom teaching science. I teach middle school science, and I was just thinking of like common things that we think of that are science based that maybe our teachers told us but are actually myths. So like, for example, is it a myth or is it science? If you get hit by lightning once, you're more likely to get hit by lightning again.
That's a fact.
What do you think?
That's what I've heard. I heard that's a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Vicky?
I'm gonna go with myth. Oh.
Ryan? Beckett?
I'll go with fact.
It is a myth.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense that it would make you more likely to. But I just always heard that.
I would say it wouldn't be
Exactly.
anything. It's nothing molecular in your body. I wouldn't say the reason I said true is if you're out sailing with a 46-foot metal pole because you're a sailor or you're a golfer running around the golf course, you get struck by lightning, you're probably
That's
going
what-
to continue to be a sailor or a golfer and
Well,
probably more.
that's what it is. It's not so much that it changes something in, like you're not more likely to just like now have a radar on you for lightning. It's more of like people who get hit more than once, which is very, very rare, it's because they're doing activities that make them more prone.
Makes
You
sense.
know,
That makes sense.
Yeah, our old producer for the KVJ show, Mariana, she got struck by lightning on the beach.
Wow.
And yeah, she said she had no idea what happened. It hit her and it was like, boom. But then we had some other dude call on the KVJ show. And, you never know who's lying or what kind of stories are real. We get a lot of crazy stories sometimes. He said he had been struck by lightning 5 different times.
what is he doing? He's like
Yeah.
walking outside. He's like, yeah, I've been struck. I've walked outside with a metal pole.
He must have been wearing a metal jacket.
I guess so. He's a
He
Terminator.
replaces metal roofs. This is his job. He replaces metal roofs.
Yeah, so you're more likely, obviously, to get hit. But yeah, it's just one of those things that, like, now we were told all these things when we were younger, and we just couldn't look them up, So we just kind of took them at face value, and now it's like, how much do I think is truth, but is actually not true because it's like a myth, scientific myth.
Lot of fakery out there, Brittany.
Has anyone been shocked really bad?
Yes.
Yes.
Dude,
Have
I got
have I-
shocked in front of a crowd pulling out a guitar amp plug. I was pulling it, but my hand was sweaty, so I slipped and I went to readjust and I grabbed all 3 prongs while it was still plugged in. And I basically got shocked in front of maybe 100 people. It was pretty awful.
Did you pee a little bit?
Oh yeah. Everything went inside.
Including isn't your pee naturally inside of you? Like, what happened?
Oh,
It went like a dog, like a red rocket reversed.
it went right back in.
It went right back inside. It went from an Audi to an innie.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I
that's amazing.
see.
Well, Brittany,
He's gender fluid.
look at what you got started, Brittany. Great segment.
Sounds
That's
good,
great.
good.
That's great.
Okay, Mr. Beckett, you got the floor.
All right, so I went up to Cape Cod to save some sea turtles for the week. I'm just kidding. I was throwing some red meat to my base. No, so I went up to Boston to visit some family, and I was up there, and of course I had to do like the history thing. So there's something up there called the Freedom Trail, and they have a haunted tour, but a lot of it was closed because of COVID and all that other stuff. So it's actually a walking trail. So rather than being able to go and do all the haunted thing with the tour guide, I went and did it and I Wikipedia'd and looked up each little thing on the way. And not to be cheesy, but with all the stuff going on, it's interesting to always find your roots and the founding of things. And what's cool about Boston, man, that's where it kind of all started for us as a country, as our values as a country and as citizens. So I walked this I think it was just under 3 miles. Oh, there's this cool little app called Relive that does a little documentation. So this is downtown Boston. It'll show you little pictures of my stops. So this is a state house that used to be cow pastures for one of our founding fathers. That's a famous church. So this
if you're just listening to the audio right now, Beckett is describing a bunch of fancy buildings.
Yeah, so all of these are in like the late 1700s that were built by and participated and attended to by most of our founding fathers. That is the church. So the church, if you're watching, is where they did 1 if by land, 2 if by sea when the British were attacking. So they put the lanterns up there, which I thought was really cool.
The bridges are coming. The bridges are coming.
Old State House, that's where they had political meetings. That's right on the corner of the area where the infamous Boston Massacre is. So that was pretty cool.
You know what I always loved? I always loved the story of the Boston Tea Party. As a kid, that whole time period was really fascinating. I really locked in and paid attention during the Boston Tea Party, all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I actually that's the oldest bar supposedly in the country, bell in hand, and right next to the Oyster House. They have a tea party drink. It's like a old fashioned and infused with tea. So I asked the waitress, I'm like, "There's no tax on this, right?" Which she thought that was really funny.
Yeah, she'd never heard that one before.
She'd never heard that one before. This is Paul Revere's house, which is actually crazy. It's a Paul Revere Square area.
The Beckett is coming. The Beckett is coming.
The Beckett's coming. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Beckett. I appreciate your segment. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. It was cool.
Miss Vicky. Mrs. Vicky.
Ms. I was thinking about, you know how you go online and you see these, this person from, 1785 looks just like Eddie Murphy and this person, whatever. So I started thinking about that because some of them do look very similar. And so I started wondering, do we only have like a certain number of, like genetic DNA makeup? And that's why years from now, let's say that person's not related in bloodline. Why do they look just like them? Now, we always tend to think it's celebrities because everybody knows celebrities. So when somebody comes across one of those pictures, they're going to say, oh, that looks like such and such celebrity. My question is, could it possibly be evidence of reincarnation?
I almost kind of like when you make your own video game player, they've got only 8 faces you could do. Right. Do we run out of just facial structures? I've told you guys about that one time when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. I got out of this car. I was going to a garage sale, and a few 100 feet away or 100 feet away, this kid gets out of the car. It looked just like me, but maybe 12 years later. And it had my face. It was a doppelganger. I hear what you're saying, Vicky.
Yeah. I had a doppelganger when I was in 5th grade and I went to the Washington patrol trip, and she was from a completely different school, not even from Palm Beach County. And everybody noticed that we looked almost exactly alike because everybody kept pointing us out. Now, I want to ask our scientists there, Birdney, do you think that we only have a certain number of genetic combinations and that's why we see similarities?
I mean, in terms of it being 100%, it's not possible, but you can look a lot like someone else, but with like similar genetic features. So that's why you have a lot of the doppelgangers and everything. But it's kind of like the snowflake thing where you don't have no snowflake is alike type of ordeal.
I will say though, if you were a guitar player in the 70s and you had a mustache and you grew out your hair, everyone looked like that in the 70s. My dad had the same look. Everyone looked like my dad, or Oates from Hall & Oates, old reference.
You know, it's always funny to me, speaking of like video games with that reference, like whenever there's movies and it's like they go back and they see their grandparents and it's like the same actor and like you're supposed to look like your ancestors or something like that. That always is weird to me because like you probably look nothing like your ancestors since you've traveled so much through the genetic pool that you're not going to look just like your great grandmother or anything like that.
I'd love to see a 1700 Beckett.
That would probably be scary.
Someone in your family from the 1700s. And Mr. Denny's, you have got the floor. I love the topic, Vicky.
Yeah, speaking of, there's a movie with John Wayne. I think it's called Rio Bravo. There's a girl in a church scene that looks just like my friend Andrew Begeman. Like it looked, uncanny. So I've always felt like that I think there's only a certain amount of faces that could be had. Unfortunately, we're eventually going to start repeating some, especially through history.
Yeah.
You're going to see a couple more Becketts throughout time.
You know, it'd be interesting bringing up social dilemma. Have you ever seen on Facebook when you go to tag friends in a picture and it'll suggest Jason, Denny's, and it knows because it has the facial recognition through AI? Wouldn't it be cool if like I could post my picture and it could show me 100 other people across the world that have a similar facial
Oh
structure
I
as
think
me.
they
Yeah.
had something like that. It
Yeah,
was for people who wanted to date people that looked like themselves. There was a podcast I listened to, and it's a dating site where you look for people who look like you. Isn't that
Would you
strange?
be into that?
no, shit, no. Are you kidding me? I don't want
Huh.
to make love to me.
They had a science show though where they did a blind study and they had pictures of two different people, one really attractive girl and another attractive girl. And what they did is they had taken a picture of you and they did a bunch of different changes, but kept like the basic features of you. And 8 times out of 10, most people picked the person that looked more like them. So they would just exaggerate like longer hair, makeup, different things. And I thought that wasn't a conscious thing. People were freaked out when they were told the conclusion, but I found that really interesting. That's almost a subconscious thing that people lean towards.
Damn, it's weird that you're trying to steal Denny's thunder before Denny's random facts. That's very interesting, Becky.
I think we're a team. We're a good team. We're complementary to each other.
me and Vicky are the same but different. So someone texted me about we're talking about the ghost stuff. It said, "Bird, if you think that's a comforting kind of woman, Vicky's right. Who the hell have you been dating? maybe I like a crazy chick, Vicky."
Well,
Obviously.
you know what I was thinking. You know what I was thinking, Jay Bird. You know when you go on that first date and a girl totally tricks you, and then you eventually become wise to it. When you go on a first date.
Yeah.
And the girl goes, "Oh, I don't like drama." And then when you become a lot more seasoned, you're like, "Check, please," because that means the girl definitely likes drama, but she's totally trying to fool you.
Be very scared if someone says, "I don't like drama." Okay.
I have only guy friends. I don't get along with other girls.
Oh, I mean, come on.
I always find that to be kind of like not a red flag, maybe like a pink flag. Just if anyone tells you ever how they are, because usually a person would exhibit that through behavior. So if they have to tell you, then I feel like they're trying to already put that into my mind. So I think that when they do something,
Or the person that's gonna let you know that, you know what, I just tell it the way it is. And I don't give a shit. I just speak my truth and I tell it the way it is. And if you can't deal with it, well, if you speak what's always in your head, that's what people call an asshole.
It's rough. It's rough to deal with.
Yeah, I hate when people say that.
I mean,
like, I'm just direct. I'm like, no.
Just because you're direct doesn't mean that you're noble.
Plus, there's a tact to carry through life to not necessarily always tell everybody what you're thinking,
So that means I can't bring you anywhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, check.
Yeah. All right, Dennis, you have the floor.
So, as everybody knows, I moved recently into a house. So it's been a lot of packing and unpacking. And through the phases of unpacking, there has to be a psychology behind this. But, I find boxes that I've carried with me through 7 moves that I never open when I get to each location. And then when I open them, I go through and I'm like, oh my God, I love all this stuff. I'll never part with it. And then I put it right back in a box and I put it in a closet. And then next time I move, I find it again. And I'm just, what is that? Why do I have to possess that? Why do I need that? It's not anything of that much value. Some of it's sentimental for sure, but like some of it's not even that sentimental, yet I can't part with it. So what is that? Why is that? Why do I find that every time I move, I keep it?
What is it?
We're emotional creatures.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like some of it is like old games that I had when I was a kid that I can never play again. Like one of them's Victor Vector. It was one of the first games I got on PC. And like that has some sentimental attachment, but not really that much. It's not one of the games that, I like. I have this old doll that was my brother's. It's not even mine. It got crossed in a move, but I've never gotten rid of it. I asked him if he wanted it. He's like, yeah, you can hold on to it. And I just can't get rid of it. It's weird. It's these weird things that I have no real attachment to. I just can't get rid of.
Am I the only one thinking like Beckett's internal monologue is, I wonder if it's a sex robot?
I was thinking about asking.
I wonder if it's a sex doll.
I'll be honest. I was thinking about making that joke.
I know you well, my friend.
Yes.
To answer your question, Dennis, I think we just are emotional people, creatures, and we have a tough time detaching from things that are our history.
For sure. I mean, I got hard drives that I kept from every computer I've ever owned that it won't even connect to computers anymore, but I can't get rid of it just in
You're
case.
just worried about somebody finding that porn on there.
Yeah. It was old days. You used to have to save it on there. That was
Oh,
just
it's gonna be
voodoo of
such,
streaming.
it's gonna be late 90s porn, Vicky. It's not gonna be
It's
very good.
vintage. It's gonna
Yeah.
sell for a lot of money. It's vintage porn.
That's when you know
something-
you're old. Oh, go ahead, Becky.
Sorry. I think there could be something that's survival, evolutionary in there too, in addition to emotional, where you made this tool, you whittled this stick as a spear, and then you feel like you need to keep things that you have made or collected to survive. Whether it's a kid, a tool, a possession. I think all these things you start to get. Because I find it funny that I get attached to inanimate things. Like I'll have a car, and then is it emotional, or is it, why do I get these inanimate objects that I can't let go? I always feel like they have feelings in some ways.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird. Why do we attach like human emotions to inanimate things?
Yeah.
That's because you have commitment issues, Beckett. You can only commit to inanimate objects.
It's a good point.
Damn, shots fired.
Wow.
Vicky's taking everybody down tonight. I love it.
And
Listen,
you
can
I'm
be
tired.
good
I'm a
then.
little punchy, okay? I'm tired.
I could tell Vicky had a day before we even got started.
Probably a week.
Yeah.
You got to be going through such hell, both of you, with the teaching and the virtual bullshit. It's got to be awful, right?
It's just exhausting, and it is technically glorified babysitting because we can't even technically teach. We have to sit at our desk, cannot get up and still teach on our computer with other kids sitting at their desk watching me in the same room on the computer. It's like there's no difference between virtual school and being in school other than we get to babysit.
So here's what I mean, you guys don't have to do this, but I'd love to give you both just 10 seconds apiece. Just rant, just get it all out. Go in on whoever, the school board, the principal, just go for it.
Just
Vicky,
go
do you-
for
Vicky, do you want it, or are you afraid that you might get in trouble for it?
No, I don't have it as bad as Birdney does because I'm a coordinator. So I don't service children directly. I do paperwork and I supervise the teachers that work for me. But since I'm an empath, as I pass by classrooms and I see this poor teacher trying to teach on this computer and these kids are spaced out in the room on their computers, not interacting. It just the first word that pops into your head is babysitting. Because that's what it has become at this point. I just want everybody to get healthy so we can come back. That what people don't understand, teachers love their kids. And they want to be with their kids, but they want to be safe. And listen, if you don't love your kids, you shouldn't be a teacher in the first place. That's number one.
Agreed.
So all of us do. That's why we're teachers. And we just want everybody back where we can see them and it's safe.
I can do that 10-second rant.
All right. And Birdney, your time begins now.
First district, you need to learn your science and math because we're probably going to hit another spike in October. You don't know anything about viruses and the long-term effects of them. Number two, parents, we're doing a lot more than we actually do. So stop saying that we need to do our job. Maybe you shouldn't have had a kid if you don't know how to deal with them at home. Bye.
That's enough. I gave you 5 extra seconds.
Mic drop.
How do you feel after that rant? You feel good?
Good. No, there's so many comments right now, like teachers do your jobs. And I understand if some parents, like there's some parents that are caught in a tough spot. And I empathize with them, but there's some parents that could stay home and they're just like, I don't want to be with my kid anymore. I'm like, well, then maybe you shouldn't have had a kid.
Damn. I got to get Birdney and Vicky in the rapping booth and let's cut a new song. I like the energy.
You know how I can sometimes be the maybe overly optimistic. I actually think, and I hope, that this actually teaches parents how much they should appreciate parents because they realize how difficult it is or can be. So hopefully,
teachers.
yeah. I hope that parents actually learn how difficult of a job being a teacher can be because they're at home, they're trying to do some of the schooling themselves. We've already heard, parents always complained about trying to do 5th grade math homework for their kids and tutor them in that. So now with homeschooling and virtual schooling and all that, I think parents, this is my hope, that they're respecting the role of teachers and all the stuff they have to do better. So when everyone goes back to school, they have a better perspective of all that.
They were like that for 5 seconds back in May with all their little virtual posts, and nothing got done for teachers. And now they hate us again because we don't do anything.
And again, I have to back Birdney up. Teachers are working, I'm going to say 3 times harder than they ever did. They are spending way more of their personal time, which as a union member, I'm going to have another rant here. As a union member, we should start working a contract and see how much gets done then. I'm done.
Okay. All right. Good job. Let's move along.
You're gonna get so many hate emails. You're gonna get so many hate emails.
Birdney, just to put on your radar, I'm gonna go into the trick-or-treating email, and then after that, we're gonna do the flat earth, just to give you a heads up.
Okay.
So here's what's on my mind. Here's some of the bullshit that I get from some of the things I say on the air. Jason, you're a public figure and you need to think about that when you speak. How dare you endorse trick-or-treating during a pandemic? You're basically telling your audience that you don't care about anyone with pre-existing conditions. Nice message. Not. Please retract your statements and don't encourage this stupid idea. Getting free candy is not essential. You claim the media is so bad all the time, but maybe you should start looking in the mirror. Deborah from North Palm Beach. All I said was, I think we should have trick-or-treating. If you want to go out there, be as safe as you can be. If you don't want to go trick-or-treating, don't go trick-or-treating. And I might have made a couple comments about, oh, the Reese's peanut butter cups have COVID on them. Just kind of kidding around. But I look, do what you got to do, y'all. I'm at a point now as a broadcaster, no matter what you say, you're going to piss somebody off. So you do you, honey boo boo. I don't give a shit what you do. Just try to be safe and drink them if you got them. That's if you're legal. That's all I got. Trick-or-treating. What do you guys feel like? Let's go with Vicky. Trick-or-treating? Are you an asshole if you have your kids trick-or-treating?
I would just make sure that it's consensus of the neighborhood that you're going to be having trick-or-treaters, because you're going to look stupid knocking on people's doors that don't open it. I think that we can just use this opportunity to be clever and figure out how to do it in a safe way. You know, if they have kids stuck up in the cafeteria every day, then we can figure out a way to trick or treat.
So your vote is not to cancel trick-or-treating. We got one vote.
My vote is to come up with something clever so that we can still kind of have the experience.
Okay, interesting. I'd like to maybe delve into that, but we don't have to. Are you just saying what? No door to door?
I think we could get clever with it. I mean,
somebody in our chat room on KVJ had an idea. He had a fishing pole. It was going to be throwing out candy with the fishing pole like that. I thought it was clever. 6 feet distance.
Until you hook the kid in the eye. You have a whole other separate issue there.
Well, there are people that took the PVC pipe and then
was a pirate.
Took the PVC pipe and then you just throw it down the PVC pipe and the kid catches it with their back at the end of the PVC pipe.
I love it. You're getting clever and we're still not canceling trick-or-treating. All right, one for trick-or-treat. Birdney.
I mean, they're wearing masks anyways, right? And I mean, I think they always do those trunk, like the kids trick-or-treating, because there's parents who are like afraid of going door to door or something like that. So, I mean, if you wear gloves and then you're just dropping it into the kids' bags, like you could do it that way. I don't see there being any issue. And I'm pretty upset because Halloween this year is on a Saturday. It's during daylight savings and there's a full moon. And of course, 2020 would ruin it.
It's some bullshit, man. It's daylight saving time on Halloween night. For some of us,
on a full moon.
For some of us creatures of the night, we want to sleep in the next morning.
Exactly.
You still can on a Sunday, but you lose an hour, right? We lose an hour.
We gain an hour.
We gain. No,
still
it's
can't
good.
That's why it's so nice.
Yeah, this is the good
Get
one.
An extra hour of Halloween of 2020 ruined it.
Kevin and Virginia are so against it. They're just, no matter, anytime this gets brought up, they just change it. They got me all twisted.
Well, we're in school. So, I mean, I feel like going to school is a lot riskier
dangerous, yeah.
than giving out candy on Halloween personally. But
Beckett, we're keeping trick or treating. I know you probably want to keep it.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep it. I guess this wouldn't work for the young kids, but Amazon Prime could do little QR codes where you scan it and it shows you what kind of candy I'm giving out, and so the kids can see it. And then Prime just ships all the candy from all the QR codes to the house the next day. Like that, and it would be great advertised for Amazon. But I could see as a little kid how that would be not fun, but disappointing. But what's the alternative? A lot of parents are going to not care what their kids do. Some parents are going to be in between, and some parents aren't even going to let their kids trick or treat. So
you basically lost me a QR code. All right. I do want to. Is that Bloody Mary clip up, Birdney?
Bloody Mary or the flat Earth?
I'm sorry, the flat Earth. I mean,
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so someone, I got this message from somebody that said, "Bird, I'm a flat earther. Listen to this truther destroy this scientist. You don't always have to go to college to dominate in science." Topher. Now, this is that interview or that little discussion I always have told you guys about, where they have three scientists who've dedicated their entire life to science and learning about the Earth not being flat. And then you just have three people who just happen to believe the Earth is flat. This is the clip where the truther, that's the truther right there, he supposedly destroys the scientist in this clip. Let's see if he does.
They're showing us doctored images that are clearly doctored. The blue marble is a very famous image from 1972. When you talk to the artist from NASA, his name is Robert Simmons, he talks about exactly how it was created from data, and it's not a photograph whatsoever. He added clouds.
Let me explain.
He added a highlight of the sun.
If you take, on your phone, most phones have that panoramic image. When you do that, you're taking a series of pictures, and the phone cleverly stitches that together.
I'm just saying how it's presented. It's presented as a real photograph.
So when NASA takes real photos and they either clean them up for color or they stitch them together so it's one large image, it doesn't mean they're CGI.
You're talking about composites. I'm what you call a globe denier.
So that clip is so funny to me because you can see the scientist. He knows he's being filmed, but he just wants to say to this guy, "Well, you shut the fuck up. What are you talking about?" He wants to say that, but he cannot. And then he starts to explain it, and he's trying to stay calm. And then the truth guy, the truther, wants to interrupt him. He knows, Denny's, because he's read it on the internet.
It's funny that he uses the blue marble photo, and that's like when he says that point, you can see him like, "All right, what's your answer to that?"
Bitch,
Yeah.
I told you. I know. I don't have to be no scientist. So that clip goes on. The scientist tells him, "Yes, you can take all of those pictures and put them all together and then touch it up. Just because you're touching up a picture doesn't mean that it's not the real picture. You're just making it more vibrant," was what he was going on to say. Vicky, when you see a clip like that, does that guy, the truther, does he annoy you or does he have a point at all here?
All I would say to him is head in any direction, north, south, east, or west. Text me when you fall off. Otherwise, I'll see you when you come back around.
There you go.
Oh yeah, 2020 messed up. This was supposed to be the year that the flat earthers took that cruise to the edge of the world.
Go! What are you waiting for?
2020 messed it up.
They don't believe in science anyways, so they probably don't believe COVID exists, so they should go on anyways. Yeah.
They should do it.
Help the cruise industries.
So we clearly have people who listen to our program, which I love it. I know it sounds like I'm making fun of you, flat earthers. Maybe I am. You can make fun of me too. I don't give a shit. Let's make fun of each other. But people, this is a growing movement. To Birdie's point, and I don't want to go over the documentary too much, but the what was it called? The social
dilemma.
The social dilemma talks about how people become flat earth believers and how it could happen. And you're probably listening right now going, how could anybody in modern times believe that the earth is flat right now? But they do. They do.
Yeah.
I just thought that clip was kind of funny.
Totally convinced me. Totally.
I've been that guy in the blue shirt so many times. I've tried not to get involved on Facebook or with friends, like when we're out having drinks. But and they think that they just own you with a statement. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then you have to calculate, is it even worth it?
I feel like people, because I'll see it sometimes on social media where they really think they mic dropped you. They make a dig at you, and then they'll follow it up with 3 of those emojis where the face is crying so hard, where bitch, you can't even begin to return my insult because I destroyed you with my laughy emojis. Oh, internet culture, Denny's. Sometimes.
Stereotypical.
Do you know what my answer is that to Jaybird?
What?
I post 3 links from like CDC, FDA, blah, blah, blah. And then I do the same exact emojis afterwards.
You guys are trolls.
The vicious cycle.
The laughy emojis where it's just laughing so hard. People, that's the mic drop on the internet. And people just think, you need to shut up. I just got you. I love /hate. It's like hate watching a movie or a show. I don't know. I hate it, but I also need it. I think with that said, I think it might be time for some Denny's Random Facts. Not bad.
Nice. It's getting better. Yeah.
Now, if you are a first-time listener here, Denny's is going to give out some factoids. Vicky is our educator. She's going to grade him. If it's a great factoid, he's going to get an A. If it sucks, she's going to give him an F. And I got to tell you, Denny's, Vicky looks like she ain't taking no shit from nobody tonight.
Not today. So I'm actually going to kind of piggyback off of that social network documentary because I found this cool study that they did. It was about the constant interruptions from your smartphone can actually change your brain's chemistry to make you feel more anxious and distracted. Notifications can trigger also the release of the hormone called cortisol, which we've talked about. It tenses your muscles, increases your heart rate, causes your palms to get sweaty. The term is actually called switch cost. It's basically the same principle as Pavlov's dog, hearing and then salivating for the meat powder. So we're training ourselves, unbeknownst to us, we're training ourselves to actually be more anxious and to cause us our own emotional distress just by having all these alerts and constantly checking our phones.
Bernie, they go over that on that documentary quite a bit. That's what I found fascinating about that thing, how it is making us anxious and depressed as a whole society.
It's really interesting to see what will happen with the kids. I think they went into the whole generation of that's used to this now. That's the
it goes back to the whole. The one part I thought was eye-opening is it's true. They showed the little girl reading all of the comments and they're all positive comments, and then she notices there's 3 or 4 negative comments about how big her ears look. And when you're a teenager, man, I don't know about y'all, but my emotions were off the charts. I mean, they still are as a 43-year-old, but imagine a 16-year-old Jaybird. Holy shit.
You're like, what?
Yes, oh my God.
Cuts off his ear.
You ate my McDonald's French fries? What? Oh, I mean, yeah, it was crazy, but I thought that was eye-opening. Vicky, great.
That's an A for anxious. And I have to say, I also made a text to self connection. What I've noticed with me is that my favorite thing in the world used to be to read a book. I couldn't wait till 7:00. Everybody knew to leave me the heck alone, that I was going to be in my room with a book. Now at 7:00, I'm in my room looking at mindless Facebook recipes that I know I'm never going to ever cook in my entire life, but I will look up and it'll be 9:30 and I'm still going through a whole series of things and I can't concentrate on a book anymore.
So I'll make a deal with you. I will, let's make a time where we promise ourselves we're not going to go on the internet at all. You'll get back to reading and I'll get back to doing something so not internet involved. Every single night at 7:30 p.m. we know we're not going on Facebook. We're not going on social media. You get your book. I'll get my guitar or whatever, and we'll start doing that if you want to make a deal right now.
Let's make a deal with everybody here. We'll call it the Weird Whatever Unplugged. And
We-
we'll
I
do it at the
love
same
it.
time.
I love
I
it.
stream at night, so I don't know how I'm gonna do that.
You don't have to do it. No, this isn't.
It would have to be a different time.
There's no law here. We're not trying to make anybody here a clone, but I will say I need to get unplugged more from certain stuff. It grounds me. It helps me. It just makes me a better person. So I'm looking for some solidarity. And I know when I'm making some life changes, if I have a partner, it always helps me. So I'm down, Vicky, if you are.
I am. You pick a time. Let me know.
And before I forget, Vicky, I do want to do a side podcast with just me and you, one-on-one, going deeper into the EVPs, your theories, and really kind of break it down more in depth. If you would be down for that, maybe this week or the weekend or something.
Yep. You let me know.
Okay, I love it.
I'm doing Sober October. You think I should try to do some unplugged version thing when I'm doing the Sober October?
It's probably harder.
Yeah, I'd take one vice at a time, Beckett.
I actually kind of think that's a good thing. I feel like you, of all people, would do well doing just, you know what, man, for a month, I'm breaking it all down. I'm going back to square one. I can see you.
It's so McConaughey. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would be harder getting rid of the internet than it would be drinking personally.
That's because you're not an alcoholic like me, Brittany. Denny's, Big D, give us another fact.
Oh yeah. Well, just to add on to that real quick, they in the same study found that if they actually took somebody's phone away from them, all symptoms were exaggerated double. So if they take your phone away from you and you can't look at it, it even causes double the effects. Crazy, right?
You know what? I'm gonna call bullshit. You may feel it in the beginning. There's something called cold turkey, baby, and a lot of us need to do some cold turkey.
It's withdrawals. It really is withdrawals.
Further in the study, they actually broke down how long until you can start adapting back to normal life, because you will you develop an addiction to social media, and you have to wean off it like any other thing. And they have a time frame in the study and everything. It's funny that you say that. It was something like 2.5 to 3 weeks, I think, was when you start breaking away, weaning off.
They say if you want to break a habit, if you really legit want to break a habit, if you do the new way of whatever it is for 30 days in a row, but you have to do it the right way. They say whatever habit you're trying to break, you can break it in 30 days. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. They say a lot.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis.
What do you guys think about this? And maybe you heard about it, but in 2018, a doctor in China used the CRISPR, which is an acronym. It's a family of DNA sequences found in the genomes of bacteria and archaea. Well, anyway, so they modified the CRISPR to edit the genes of twin girls, to become more resistant to HIV, creating the first genetically engineered designer babies. But when they presented this, they were immediately arrested, and the Chinese government sentenced them to 3 years in prison for unethical medical practices because they were tampering with a human genome. What do you guys think about that? So in one hand, they found a way to make you more resistant, future generations more resistant to HIV. But in the other hand, they did it unethically by testing it on, so twins. So living people actually have this test done to them. Who knows what's going to happen to them? Who knows the long-term effects? Incredibly unethical. They were going to get 10 years in prison, got 3 years. What do you guys think about that?
They do CRISPR here. They've been testing it on, like diseases and stuff like that. So basically it just rewrites. It's like if those like little whiteout things that you would use that it's like tape or whatever. It's kind of like what CRISPR is. It goes over the DNA code and what it should be, and it changes it to what it can be. And they're testing it on diseases and stuff, but you could technically change the color of your eyes.
A ton of stuff.
You could do so much with it.
Basically like the book A Brave New World or the movie adaptation Gattaca, where you create babies instead of actually, the old fashioned way.
Yeah, personally, when it comes to that stuff, I don't like to start changing things.
It's a rabbit hole.
Barbara Streisand started cloning her dog or her cat. I think it was her dog. I don't know if we're supposed to do that, but then you have the argument of, well, whatever higher power there is gave us the intelligence to do that. So does that make it wrong? But for me personally, my gut tells me when you start changing little things like that, I don't know.
Well-
It feels weird in my soul.
The part of the
Yeah.
story that kind of disturbed me was that when asked about it, why they did it, he was hoping that the fame from this would outweigh the consequences of, unethically experimenting on.
Well, he was driven by ego, so the whole thing was bullshit anyway.
But then you wonder, it all comes back to the reward of social media and the reward of the internet. I mean, had that gone a different way, he would have been, congratulated instead of,
Oh, the internet's turned us into crazy people. It has.
It
just-
amplifies it.
And I believe Chili's also has CRISPR. Chicken CRISPRs were very good there.
You had that
Oh
one
my
loaded for a
God.
while.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Oh, weird, right? So he was sentenced. Yeah, it was back in 2018, and then he got sentenced, last year.
I wouldn't trust it. I don't trust humanity as a whole. You're going to have designer babies and all this messed up stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about this before where, like you're saying, designer babies. It doesn't feel right, Vicky.
Nope. And
No.
in the hands of the wrong person, I mean, my goodness, that's a disaster. But the fact is an A.
Oh.
Yeah, you're on fire, kid.
Oh yeah. Let's see. This one is not as eye-opening as the other two, but it is kinda. And this would never happen with the age of COVID. But back in the 1980s, teenagers in New York would jam tokens into the turnstiles of the subways, and then they would suck them back out with their mouths so they could use them again. It was a trick to the subway. So it was they coined the term. It was called token sucking. In fact, it got so big that they would put chili powder into the slots to punish the thieves, and then they had to put constant surveillance up to stop them. But they would look for red mouths. Yeah, it was called token sucking. There's a whole technique I downloaded. You stick a piece of paper and a coin in. The person behind you would come in line, couldn't get his coin in, would get mad and jam it, and then you would come back through and suck the coin back out.
I got to give you an A just for the terminology. Token
So weird, right?
Oh.
They eventually came out the Metro card just to, counteract it all. But that was the woes they went through when they were using tokens back in the 1980s.
There was a lot of woes back in the 80s, Danny.
There was. I thought that'd be a weird one.
All right, give us your best last factoid right here.
So here, to wrap it up, and this is just so incredibly odd. In fact, I'll give you the name of this podcast that went over it. I'll listen to a fair amount of it, and it's pretty insane. So this kid, Martin Pistorius, fell into a coma at the age of 12, and he stayed into a coma for 10 more years. And then recovered. When he started showing signs of recovery, his mom quit her job and she worked with him for 2 years and retaught him, and he got to start his life all the way back over. It's an incredibly weird illness called cryptococcal meningitis. There's a podcast called the Invisibilia podcast that talks about this, but he was trapped, unable to move, and could hear and process everything for 10 years, trapped inside his body. And he could hear everything. In fact, one night, his mom came into the room and broke down and said, "I wish I never had a kid." And he could hear it. And he thought about it for like 8 more years after that.
Oh my God.
Damn, Big D.
I know, it's so heavy.
Oh my gosh.
But then he relearned. One day he said it was like existing, but not existing. It was existing in a void. But he taught himself how to slip in and out of consciousness to where he could process or not process, to where he was there or not there. And he said that one day he could see. It was back. And then one day, as time went on and through rehabilitation, he now lives a completely normal life, has a normal job. I think he's somewhere around the age of like 37 now.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
10 years. They wanted to pull the plug on him. His mom said no.
Wow.
Can somebody buy that son of a bitch a drink?
Totally.
It's incredibly rare. It never happens.
Cool.
I'm just going to leave that with you.
Hey,
That's
think
great,
about that when you go to bed tonight, kids.
But what a crazy illness. I was just like, what an insane
Vicky,
story. Check it out. The Invisibilia podcast, not to promote another podcast.
Straight A's. He's been holding on to these all this time to pull off a straight A night.
Yeah, and I don't care if we promote other podcasts. I would hope other podcasts promotes us.
For
So
sure,
promote-
for sure.
It's a good podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, promote away. There's a lot of great podcasts out there. I do want to play, Birdie, if you don't mind pulling up the one clip about the woman that's getting pulled over with the cops. So a woman in Oklahoma got pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt. We talked about this on the KVJ show, and we didn't have the clip. We have the clip now. She got pulled over not wearing a seatbelt, and it turned out she didn't have a license, and she tried to get out of it by telling the cop she had to poop.
It's
that it was-
just the audio, right?
Yeah, just the audio. Yeah,
Okay.
This is what this sounded like.
It's a good excuse.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Do cops know?
They're like, prove
Your
it.
license suspended?
Why?
I don't know. And now I'm waiting to see if you have warrants through Woods County. And
Poop so bad.
where do you think I was
Hey,
going?
man. Why did you just let me go?
Because I know your license is
I'm
suspended.
sorry. I didn't know it was. I won't drive no more, but can I please go home and go poop?
You have warrants through Woods County and they're coming to get you.
No, they're not.
Ma'am.
Get out of the vehicle now!
Get out of poop in your car, man.
Okay,
Damn.
we gotta break that clip down because there's a lot to go on.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is her talking about she got to poop. Her license is suspended. She's crying, and then she takes off.
I mean,
That's amazing. That's an amazing clip.
dude, imagine my biggest fear is I have to poop really bad and somebody comes up and tackles me. Like that'd be just the worst. I could imagine. I would never try to run from the police.
I'm gonna tell Jen to tackle you all the time now.
Oh,
I don't think she really had to poop. She was throwing every kind of excuse out there. I'm crying. Oh, I gotta poop. But I asked the question today, and I didn't get any feedback. So if you are a police officer, please let us know in the comment section below or email us. When somebody uses that excuse, when you pull them over, I have to poop. Can you tell when they're lying? Because clearly there's probably some people that get pulled over that are speeding that have to really go poop. They're trying to get there. And then there's other people that are lying. Are you a good enough cop to where you can tell the difference? Liar, pooper. Let us
You know,
know.
what's interesting is one of my middle school teachers used to be she was a cop, and she told us one day in class, and I mean this was 15 years ago, but she said that's the most common excuse when you get pulled over is that you have to use the bathroom.
Yeah, you got to be able to cipher through that, I think, as a
Well,
police officer.
Years ago, Bobby Joe, she was newly pregnant, and she got pulled over, and she said, "I'm trying to get home because, yeah, she's pregnant."
I love that character on Winnie the Pooh. I love Freglet.
Pregnant.
So she's saying to the officer, I'm very nauseous. I'm trying to get home. I need to throw up. And he was like, "No, you were speeding, whatever." Well, next thing you know, she projectile vomits and caught his shoes and everything.
Oh,
So
gosh.
maybe that cop learned to listen.
Did she get a ticket?
No,
That
Well, I
works.
mean-
she obviously proved she was telling the truth.
Just vomit on the police officer, guys. That will do it.
If it was a flat top cop, though, she gets the ticket.
That's right. Totally.
There's another clip here too. I want to show you guys. It's the robot Birdie. It's a robot waitress at a restaurant in Denmark, Beckett. Now, it's tall enough to where you could make love to it if you wanted to. Tell me if this is the kind of robot you'd be into. And also, do you think this is creepy? Would you like going to a restaurant where a robot acts like this? There's the robot.
Please pick it up. Enjoy your meal. If there is nothing else, touch my hand so I can get back to work.
What do you think, Beckett? Hot or creepy?
Yeah, she's not my type.
She has a nice
Yeah,
back entrance, though.
I like it.
got that hourglass.
Oh yeah.
She
I
has
don't
that
know.
big.
That's my kind of robot.
I don't know.
What, she cooks?
It's got to look more like a human. I like more of the lifelike. I think I would go with the old-fashioned sex doll than one of those things.
Yeah, no, they
I'm not gonna.
They're really doing remarkable things in the sextile industry, right, Beckett?
That's right.
That looked like a Jetsons robot.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool though if that was every single day.
So you're saying life now changes to where robots serve humans pretty much in every aspect.
That was a trick question, or that was a trick statement. Hell no, we don't want robots taking our jobs, Denny's.
I would like that to go to my fridge and bring me something, but that would probably be the only thing I would want it for.
I'm with you, Birdie. Maybe someone to go get me a drink or make me a sandwich in just the house, so I don't have to do it.
I could see that becoming pretty mainstream.
Yeah.
Kind of for all my old schoolers out there, you saw this type of activity in the hit movie Rocky III.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Sylvester Stallone made them edit out all of the parts of the robot recently.
Because it's terrible.
That's what he said. He said it's so shitty.
It makes no sense. He buys him an expensive robot for Polly.
That's exactly what he said. We've been going for an hour, a little over an hour, so I think it's time to wrap up. We didn't get to the Bloody Mary stuff. We didn't get to our cold case files locally, but we will get to all that stuff next week. We're going to feature Maurice Jefferson and Rachel Hurley next week. 2 cases locally that are run cold. One's a missing case. Maurice went missing back in the 80s, and Rachel Hurley was found murdered in Jupiter at Carlin Park, and they never found the murderer. So we've talked about these cases before. I want to still keep these out in the media. We're going to post some links on that on our social media as well. Real quick, Beckett, do you have anything?
Nope, I'm good. Just gearing up for Sober October. So I'm drinking until then, and I'll contemplate with you and Vicky about maybe doing a little unplug.
I love it. Yeah, let's do it. I'll gladly have a beer with you. Vicky, what do you got?
No, I'm good. Just let me know how long we're going to be unplugged, and I'll start tonight.
Okay, and I do, if you want, do you know your schedule? Let's let the people know. I know people would really want to hear a deep dive into the ghost stuff, and we can go into some other little further avenues. Do you have a day or?
I'm good, and I have Monday off too. So, I mean, I'm good Saturday, Sunday, or Monday.
Okay, I love it. All right, well, we'll let the people know. But that will happen this weekend. Denny, Big D.
Do I have anything?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Was the Noid, was he a good mascot or not?
Oh, that's a great question.
Domino's, remember him?
Yeah, that's great. Very obscure.
You put me on the spot. I couldn't think of anything.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to the Weird Whatever podcast. If you guys don't mind, I have to whore myself out. If you share this, if you comment, do all that stuff, it helps us out greatly. If you see it on Facebook, even the one that sucked, that didn't do well, if you just get some activity on that, we'd appreciate that as well. We love you all, and
Bigfoot
is real.